Okay, so as promised, I'm sorry I made you feel that way.
Made me feel what way?
Unsafe in your psychological space. Is that?
To be honest, I don't care that much about myself. I've done...
Wait. Can we not do that?
No, I am who I am. If you can't handle the crying, I can go. I understand. It's not a guy's thing. I get it. But I have spent my whole life studying a very particular part of life, and it's trauma healing, and it's very important to me, and I'm not willing to let my platform be degraded by somebody who doesn't even have a degree in psychology or anything he's talking about. So at least promote yourself as not an expert, and me as an expert, at least in this one field that I actually am an expert in. And if I can't be respected as the expert in a particular field, which I will shrink down to trauma healing. Trauma healing. That's what I'm an expert at. Trauma healing.
Okay.
If I can be respected as an expert
Mm-hmm.
in extreme trauma healing,
Okay.
and you're not,
Okay.
if I can be respected as that, at least, then we might be able to have conversations.
Okay, can I have you elaborate on what a trauma healer is?
Yes. I can help people take the most extreme traumas, and I know how to help them transform it into something good and release it from their body in the sense that it no longer causes them suffering.
Okay. And I just want to be clear on this so I understand. The idea of assisting people with what you're calling well, first let's start with
I wasn't looking for this. I was looking for an apology that you exerted yourself as any sort of expert in the field that I'm literally. The way that you are using your linguistics is very degrading.
Yeah, but that's an emotional state, right?
It doesn't matter if it's emotional or not. Literally, people are making their choices based off of emotion.
Reap what you so donated $99.
I
Love
think
how Desiree goes from crying to normal in 0.025 seconds, but claims to be genuine. Also, coming from a professional in psychology, you do more harm than good. All you learned was manipulation.
So
well, why don't we just, you want to just do the apology and then I can get back into my...
It just goes like this, Andrew. I'm sorry, Desiree. You know a lot more in the subject of trauma healing than I do, and I will submit to that. Now let's move on to a different fucking subject that's actually entertaining to people, because we've been having the same conversation like over and over and over again in different ways, and I'm fucking done with it. So let's move on to geopolitics or something else.
Okay, we can move on to geopolitics.
I think Andrew will give you the apology. There's a bit extra asks there. I'm not sure he's going to be able to give...
Look, I'll give you the apology. I'm sorry you feel this way.
That's not an apology.
What do you mean? Yes, it is.
You didn't repair the damage.
Lol Paladins donated $100. The fake tears stopped as fast as they started. Evil manipulator. Sociopath. Stay strong, men. Don't white knight overcome your genetic programming.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry that you have an inability to have any emotional control while we have a conversation. I'm sorry that you're psychotic and a lunatic.
Wait, no.
I'm sorry that you're about as wise as, you know. Okay. So anyway, I'm sorry you feel that way. So there we go.
Okay. I'm sorry, Desiree. If I'm going to apologize, you got to look me in the eyes. That's fair, right? If I apologize, will you look me... I apologize, I'm sorry. Is that...
Pegasus 25 donated $100. Being a paid prostitute isn't degrading to this piece of shit. By the way, bimbo, that email proves that you're mentally ill and your children need to be rescued. You are not a mental health expert.
Okay.
Imagine the hubris of somebody who sexually batters you and then demands you apologize to them. Can you imagine the hubris of a person like that? And I'm the psychopath?
Hold on, Desiree. Hold on.
No, I'll walk out. I'll walk over there and let you guys.
Let me have a little convo. Andrew's going to take a break. It's okay. Me and Desiree, are we Are you my Caucasian? Desiree, are we homies? Are
you going to protect me?
Do you want me to smack Andrew around a bit? Is that?
Yes, I do. He's really inappropriate.
Well, he's also my Caucasian. I can't smack him around, but
you can. You actually can.
I'm not at liberty to do that, and also...
You can. Are you a man?
I identify as a man.
Okay, so your job is literally to protect me.
But I need to protect Andrew too.
Why? He can't protect himself? He clearly can.
Look,
I can't. I literally can't.
Andrew has a very strong handshake. If I were to, he might.
Don't bullshit me. I literally cannot. I cannot protect myself emotionally from this man. It would be your responsibility to protect me emotionally. If you're not going to do it, I can't stay.
I told him to go in to take a smoke.
Okay, so are you going to keep protecting me?
Yes.
Do you promise? Do I have your word that you will keep protecting me?
I'll try my best. That's all.
I have shared a lot of personal information about myself. I think you know what is important to me at this point. It's not that hard to say, will you protect the things that are important to me?
Yeah.
Yes?
But we need to establish boundaries for everybody. So when it came to the topics you didn't want to come up, you went immediately and attacked Andrew. And the thing is
because you're making me, because you're not protecting me. You need to protect me from the ridiculous things that this man is saying to innocent minds. We have a responsibility, Brian. There are innocent minds watching this. We cannot allow this man.
There's a couple Coomers.
I understand. There's some idiots.
$100.
A couple.
Maddie is going to protect you both. Chill.
Yeah, Maddie's pretty strong. Maddie, you said you're Hmong and Thai?
Just Hmong.
Oh, just Hmong? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so.
I need to feel protected. It's very important to me.
Did you see how I called him off?
Yes, and I appreciate that.
I was protecting.
Concealed man donated $100.
You waited until I literally felt so unsafe I had to leave.
I don't know why you guys have to go through this again. It's obvious that she's mentally unstable. It's ironic that she calls herself trauma healer while causing the same trauma herself.
Okay.
She's sick.
So anyways, can we go back? I did want to go back. In the email you sent me, you said you have the personas like Eminem, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers. And you said it's a thing for us, like the personas thing. It's a thing for us, genius, black ghetto slave souls inside sexy white bodies.
What do you want to know about it?
I was just do you identify as black?
I identify as very complex and very misunderstood because of my external appearance.
No, I know, but do you identify as a black woman?
No.
Native American.
I identify more with a Native American construct, yes.
Just because in the email you said black ghetto slave soul.
Yeah.
Inside sexy white body.
Well, if you want to go into how I was raised to be a sex slave.
Well, hold on. But I'm more focused on the black
Brian,
part.
To be honest with you, you don't have the depth of understanding for me to go into that. So let's just skip over that and let's just go to something else.
I agree. I think we should move on. In some emails, there was you for a $200 TTS you wanted to kiss. Or was it 100?
I was trying to come up with playful games that we could play to keep things more light and connecting, because those things create a sense of safety for me. And as if we are, even though we might be, disagreeing with each other and having, those are the types of things that help me feel safe with men. So it's more of a playful thing. Like, I have no problem, having this energy of intellect or competitiveness or egos or things like that, the back and forth banter. But I need to feel like it's a playful thing. Yeah. If I don't feel like it's playful, then I take it as a malicious attack. And again, I'm going to repeat, it's not so much about protecting me, it's about protecting my platform that I've worked literally my entire life to master a particular, very particular area.
I was just, you said for a $200 TTS that we would kiss closed mouth, but $500 we would French kiss.
Why are you bringing this up, Brian? Are you planning on doing it?
No.
Then why are you bringing it up?
I don't consent.
Then why are you bringing it up?
No, just trying to lighten the mood. Just trying to lighten the mood a little bit.
All right.
Yeah. I'll do it for a Bitcoin.
One?
A Bitcoin.
That costs like $2? So you went from $200?
No, Bitcoin's like 60K.
A Bitcoin? Okay.
60K.
I'm thinking of something else then. All right.
Like, I'll do it. Like, I have to.
Okay.
I get the Bitcoin.
Okay. I get it.
I'll like cut you an ETH, like 1 ETH Ethereum. I think that's like 2 or 3K right now.
I don't know what that means.
So I mean, like, if we were, somebody might do it.
Send a Bitcoin.
Send a Bitcoin. I give her an Ethereum.
What's an Ethereum? I don't even know.
It's
what that
cryptocurrency.
is. Okay.
For the, I need 2 Bitcoin for like French kiss though. Definitely two Bitcoin for I'll do closed mouth kiss though for 1 Bitcoin. Anyways.
Beat-In Cheeks donated $99.99. What type of misogynistic podcast did I just tune into? Brian, Andrew, why can you not be men and protect this poor woman from your words? Also, Carmela 2024. America is ready for her. Hashtag trans women are women.
Hey, what? Hey, Cheeks. Yeah, it's thank you, man. Appreciate it. Kamala 2024. Fight the man.
Andrew feels unsafe around you.
I feel unsafe.
I feel unsafe around you. You weapons instructor, you. You.
This is MAGA country.
Look at here. Should we do a hand comparison? Okay. All right. Let's get. Now you sent us some interesting DMs. I just wanted to get into the DMs, I guess, because they were kind of interesting. There's a lot. I hope we can get through all of them.
I'm not really interested in discussing our private conversations. Let's move on to social commentary or other things like that.
Well, I think the DMs are.
It's personal information.
Well, I mean, you were also threatening me with filing a lawsuit.
It wasn't a threat. It was a court-mediated process that I have to take.
No, you said you'd go file a class action lawsuit against me.
Because I have to. If this wasn't going to be a restitution show, because I'm now in a custody situation because of the last show.
I'm not a party to your
Yeah, but you said you got
dispute.
100% custody because of it.
Well, I had to take 100% custody because after that situation, my ex escalated in his...
Yeah, but didn't that work out well for you?
No, because... Do you want to understand the situation?
Intel Wild donated $100. Jesus, this chick is batshit crazy. Andrew, please call up the Santa Barbara PD and report the SA charge. Giant L to the University of Irvine.
Okay.
But I'm not going to do that if you apologize.
Apologize for what?
For the sexual battery.
I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
That I made you feel sexually battered.
Oh, so, I mean, if that's the apology.
It's the same apology that you gave me.
But you said that was an unacceptable apology.
Well, you reap what you sow, so I'm not going to give you a more
Well, then
sincere
if we're
apology
doing
than
you reap
gave
as
me.
you sow, and you don't want me to move over to Christian ethics, where I usually don't do eye for an eye, and I'm usually a pretty forgiving person, just let things go, right?
I'm sorry that I put my beautiful ass in your lap.
Ugh.
I'm really sorry that made you uncomfortable.
Chris donated $100.
Nick, can you
Please
leave the
call
door open?
CPS and take her children away from her. They should play this entire podcast to the judge when deciding custody. I just left you a 1-star review on Amazon for her book. Everyone do it.
No, we're not gonna do shit like that. So the thing is, that's remarkably actually unhelpful in all ways. The thing is I would like to get into you in a social theory that I have, and I'd like to explain it to you and get your takes because you are the expert. Have you ever heard of what's called magic pussy theory?
No.
Magic pussy theory goes like this. This is considered a highly chauvinistic, I suppose, theory. I don't think it is. But essentially, if a woman cannot control you through sexuality, they move to manipulation. If they can't control you through manipulation, they move over to empathy. So these are mechanisms of control for...
That would be a mechanism of a sociopathic female, yes.
But haven't you demonstrated all of those traits today?
I would say I had to cycle through the toxic version of those things, and I arrived back on a genuine presentation of femininity.
But you started...
I have just been simply responding to your toxic masculinity that you've been putting on me. So I've been trauma responding with toxic femininity, yes. It's a protective measure.
So then you were acting in a way which you consider to be sociopathic?
No, because I wasn't being manipulative with my emotions. But I will admit to intentional aggression against you, yes. But my crying and when you touched points of me that made me cry, I wasn't trying to invoke any sort of empathy in you, as clearly you don't have any, and you've stated that many times, and you don't care how I feel.
I never stated
so that
I
was
don't
not
have
for
empathy.
you. That was just me trying to literally, in real time, process my own trauma so I could move forward with the conversation.
Well, you can agree that, and I would agree with you too, that empathy is important, but you would have to agree with me that sometimes people will utilize empathy as a weapon.
True.
In order to get you to respond a certain way through manipulation.
True.
So when you say, well, wait a second, Andrew, respond to me this way, right? And I'm going to present myself this way, which looks very manipulative, and then say, well, wait a second, you're not responding with empathy, so therefore you're a sociopath, something like this. Isn't that kind of textbook manipulation?
Andrew, it can be whatever you need me to say to move along with the conversation. I consent so we can move along.
Okay, so you're just going to admit then that you've been being extremely manipulative this entire time?
Well, that's what you want, correct?
Well, I mean, I want you to tell the truth. That's what I want.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
I don't agree with you.
Well, I mean, so you can read my mind? I really do. This would have been a really productive conversation. You should go back and look at all of the debates I've done on here, one-on-one. They've always been super respectful, and they've really gone places which are good places to go. This one has just literally been a fucking...
Then why are
hasn't
you
gone
still
anywhere.
here? Why are you still here talking
Because
to me?
I still think perhaps I can get to some kind of worldview which we can discuss. I can still hope that, whether we will or not. But if you're just going to obstruct every time we get somewhere, which is productive because you might have to take responsibility, that's no good.
So I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
No, you're just damned if you don't. If you're damned if you refuse to engage, right?
Jorge donated $100. Let's be clear. She didn't win custody of her kids. She's holding them hostage from their dad.
Okay. Anyway. So yeah, that's I just, I want to get into the aspects because you're kind of a master, right? Doesn't it even stand to reason that if you're a master, in psychology and you are an expert in psychology, that you would also be an expert in employing manipulation tactics and psychological tricks in order to get people to empathize with your position.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's true, there's no reason for me to assume that you haven't been doing that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I suppose also to Andrew's point, there's been multiple times throughout the conversation where we were talking about the white supremacy stuff, we were talking about your accusations of woman hating, and instead of engaging, you would just be like, nope, not talking about it, don't want to talk about it. So I think that's what he's talking about.
I'm trying to keep my nervous system regulated so I can keep having a conversation without crying.
Okay. All right. Well,
what is the? I know that you can't always explain this, but what is the motivation behind the crying? Is it because you feel bad?
It's because my heart feels broken in certain moments, and that's all I know how to move forward from that position, is to release it. If I try to hold on to it, it turns into something ugly. So crying is actually a protective measure to keep me from attacking you in a way that would be mean and malicious. I would rather just take in the pain, release it, and then see if I can regather myself to continue the conversation, or see if it's just done and I just need to leave.
Well, I think we can continue the conversation. Maybe we can get in a place where both of us have some common ground, right? I have kids, just like you do. With my kids...
Biological?
Yeah. Biological.
How old are they?
So the youngest is, well, I don't even want to get into their ages, and there's reasons why, but because I have people who are not good people who will weaponize.
So you know how it feels.
Do all sorts of, I've never weaponized your kids against you ever.
No, I'm saying though, but that is what happened because of the last show, and that's why I'm in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I can't.
Because my kids got weaponized because of the show.
But I can't, I'm not responsible for that.
I'm not saying that you are, but I am saying that the places that you're leading me are subjecting me and thus my mothering to
I'm not
things that are very traumatic for my children.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to do that. That wasn't the example.
And I see the allowance of comments coming in still about my children, about CPS, about child abuse, about me being an abuser, and I explicitly asked.
I get the same comments.
I understand that, but I am actually in a active case because of this exact
I've had
thing.
my house swatted 4 times.
Okay, I get it.
No, you don't get it. I've had my house swatted 4 times.
I've had my house swatted too.
Had the police called on me multiple times.
Same.
All for expressing an opinion just like you. We're in the same boat. If you're going to be a public figure, you're going to risk offense. And if you risk offense, sometimes crazy people are going to do bad things to you.
That's not my criticism. My criticism is that I did not know that that's what I was getting myself into when I came to the last show. I did not know that that's what I was getting myself into. I genuinely didn't. I was under the impression that I was coming to a dating podcast just to discuss amongst other people like what's going on in the dating world. That's literally all I thought.
Why would you assume that people would be less likely to have strong emotional opinions about dating than they do anything else?
I guess I was sheltered. I didn't.
Yeah. People have strong emotional opinions about everything from politics to dating to interpersonal relationships. They have strong opinions about circumcision. They have strong opinions about everything. And if you don't have right think, there's always going to be people who disagree with you and are going to try to do bad things.
I feel as if the explicit animosity towards me as a mother and my children was very extreme. But you're the ones that allow the comments or not.
They're third parties.
You remind people that there's certain trigger things and things that are so toxic you don't allow it. So therefore, I know you have a censoring process, yet you're still letting these comments come in
automatically.
So there's no censoring process?
So what happens is keywords, which would affect the algorithm, get censored. That's what he's talking about with toxic comments. So you notice how comments are coming through that have particular slurs which are quite vicious towards women. Those get filtered out. But saying generalized statements like, "Oh, I think this woman is a bad mother," you can't really do much about those. If you're going to put yourself on the internet at all and put yourself as a public figure, you are going to risk offending people, and they are going to sometimes you're going to have bad actors who will do horrible things. I tend to try my hardest to ignore that myself, because I've had people do fucking horrible things to me. Horrible. And the thing is I don't hold, even my haters, I don't even hold them responsible, because most of my haters aren't so insane that they would take it to that level.
Jessica Reloaded donated $100. You are responsible for yourself and what happened on the last show. Take accountability for yourself. Why come back if you felt unsafe? Did you not research the show before you came on the first time?
I didn't. That's correct.
Well, hold on there. Nick, could you pull up layer 6? So this is your very first message to us requesting to be on the show back May 30th of 2024. You're going to have to put this in the corner. That's fine. Go ahead. If you want to read it, you can. You can read it back to yourself.
I don't have my glasses. I can go get my glasses.
Okay.
I can't see it.
Maddie, can you read it?
Yeah. A friend referred me to you guys to join your podcast for a very interesting episode on how I basically solved all of world problems simply by flipping the script of the patriarchy and going back to a system where women do the choosing. I am a savant, social scientist, OnlyFans model, and a good old American-made single mom of 3 trying to get my bills paid out here in a man's world. I could really use some exposure to bring in money, and it's just a super interesting topic that I could go on about, as it's near and dear to my heart.
I mean, so you reached out to us.
So that's what I thought that I would be discussing.
You did discuss that.
But, I mean, the show...
I thought it would be respected.
What would be respected?
My views.
Well, we have a panel of people who will provide pre-show notes, some of the topics that they request to speak on. If it's pertinent to the theme of our show, we'll bring it up. We did bring up quite a bit of some of the things you discussed. Were you under the impression it was going to be a one-on-one interview?
Yeah.
That's not possible.
I didn't know that it was a panel show.
I mean, every single clip.
I didn't watch any of the clips. I honestly didn't know anything about the show, and I do take responsibility.
That's entirely on you.
I know. I understand.
On the very Instagram that you sent us a DM to requesting to be on the show, there are clips on that Instagram. We don't post a bunch. There are clips indicating that it's a panel show. There's multiple people on the panel.
I take responsibility.
You can watch
for that.
full live streams.
I take responsibility. I literally didn't.
We don't hide anything with this show. Anybody can just click the first link. Hold on, you got to stop interrupting. Anybody can click the first link, go directly to the YouTube channel. At the very top, it's going to show the full live streams.
I didn't do it.
That's on you.
I know.
If I'm going on the show, I'm going to do research.
I get it. I'm saying it's on me. That was my bad.
Right, but you cannot then blame. Cannot shift the blame on us that you felt like you didn't know what you're getting into. You didn't see one clip?
No. I didn't. Not my thing.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, I don't remember it was a 7 or 8 hour show. I don't remember everything that was talked about. We talk about various things dating related.
Well, she was able to. You did bring up the idea of patriarchy, the reversal, how you're living in a man's world. You brought up a ton of very interesting psychological ideas. You brought up a lot. It just seems to me like every time you were challenged on them. So what it looks like from my perspective is that I don't mind talking about these ideas. I think that it's fun to talk about ideas like that. But I have noticed this trend and pattern of women who, if their ideas get challenged, they get really upset to the point where they begin to think that they are personally being attacked rather than the idea they're espousing. And they can't make the delineation between the two. The idea which I'm saying and the me, which one is actually being attacked here. And I think it's fine to attack ideas without personally attacking the person.
Do you understand that men and women are not built the same.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of the problem is I wasn't even designed to have a debate with you.
Were you designed to be in politics?
No.
Were you designed to be in leadership roles? Were you designed to vote? Were you designed to pick the government which is going to rule people? Were you designed for any of that?
No.
Well, then why? So then women probably shouldn't participate in any of those avenues, right?
Let me clarify. I was designed to take a leadership role, yes. I do not believe that divine humanity was made to have a government. I don't believe that American governmental structure is divine. I believe that's man-made.
Yeah, perhaps it is, but I guess
chat.
kind of the point and core here is, if you think that men and women are different, I agree. Totally agree.
Now the thing
men and women are
is that,
different.
that,
Hang on,
that
let
men
me
no
finish my
longer
point.
protect women. It's not divine masculinity.
I get it, but let me finish my point, and then I'll back to you. If it is true that you think that women are different than men, and I agree that they are, and that women aren't even equipped to have their ideas challenged, they're not actually even equipped to have their ideas challenged, why in the fucking world would we ever let them lead a dog down the street?
No, you're misinterpreting it. We were not designed to have a man who does not love and respect us. So, for example, you don't know me from anybody. You don't have any emotional connection to me. Mm-hmm. You don't have any depth of understanding of who I am as a being. So therefore, I wasn't made to hold you accountable, or you weren't made to hold me accountable. You don't even know me. Your own wife should be holding you accountable and putting you in your place if you need that. Just like the men that know me in my life, that, let's just say we have a soul connection. Those were the only men that I was designed
Chris
to actually...
donated $100. She wasn't designed to admit when she is wrong. This is her real issue. She can't take an L and admit fault and will lash out. Put a 1 in the chat if you think her children should be taken away. Crazy.
We don't condone some of the messages that are coming through, by the way.
Anyway, go on.
Thank you for the TTS, though.
We're not operating in a world right now that is going by the rules of divine humanity. Shit's fucked up. So I am simply a woman trying to survive this.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm also saying that all the actions that you take are interconnected with the actions of the rest of humanity, which do affect my life, like
True.
it or not.
Yeah.
It does affect my life.
True.
And so if you to say to me, like, look, Andrew, there needs to be an interpersonal relationship for correction, it's like, that's fair. But there is an interpersonal relationship for correction, because unfortunately, the millions who think like you affect me. Whether I like it or not, they still affect my life.
I have never met anybody who thinks like me.
Yeah, but the thing is that women have political power. Women can move political goalposts.
But are they actually
do those
feminine
things.
Embodiments, or are they just masculine embodiments
They're
in
feminine
a vagina?
embodiments if they believe that having any of their worldviews challenged is an assault on them, because their feelings must be validated instead of the idea. That is very feminine in nature. That is not... That seems to be more in line with how women think than men think, by your own admission. So if that's true, why are we allowing them to ever have a say against men who don't think that way?
Well, because there has to be this dance between the emotional part of being human and the structural or logical part of being human. And so men and women were designed to offer this flow with each other. Okay, that's why feminine energy, or women, that's why we have this magnetism to us that men crave, because we're so good at channeling the emotions of everything that's going on around us. And
Lol Paladins donated $100. I don't believe that she has an active custody case. She's under so many multiple layers of manipulation that I believe she would come here and lie just about it, prevent people from reporting her.
Look, it's it's not a good idea. Even if you thought she was the worst person on planet Earth, it still wouldn't be a good idea. If you take kids from anybody's home, even if you were able to do it, they almost always have worse outcomes. Even if you left them in a home which was abusive, they still almost always have worse outcomes. Not a good idea. Don't do it, and don't push for it. It's not a good idea. It's a bad look for the show in general anyway. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you for...
Yeah, I'm not. That's not what I'm at. I'm literally just here to discuss the things in your head. That's it. Just the things that are inside of your noodle. And so that's why I started the entirety of our conversation saying, look, I want to tell you what my worldview is and get yours so that you understand what's in here, and then I understand what's up there. And then from there, we can have some kind of conversation about those things. I agree with you, for instance, that most people make decisions, even men, general decisions based on emotion. Let me give you some examples, okay? I really like trucks that are blue. I'm not getting the blue truck because the blue gives some type of like extra sealant or something. There's no practical reason. I just like that fucking color. Yeah. Is that purely emotional? Yeah. Will it affect my logical decision making when I buy a truck? Would I get some feature on, that truck wouldn't have, like maybe it's lug nuts or not the ones I wanted, and I will kind of sacrifice that pragmatic thing for this emotional thing? Yeah. Right? So I'm not operating off of pure logic. I understand that. Or pure reason. I get that. There's emotion to the things that men do and the things that women do. However, you still have to be able to make a disassociation between the two when you're making decisions. For instance, if it was the case that I could not get the truck, but only almost everything I wanted except it in blue, I would take that. Right? And so I feel like the distinction here is maybe you wouldn't.
That's correct, because I guess I don't care about how something looks on paper. I care about how it feels emotionally to me to live with that decision day in and day out.
Right.
So if, for example, we're talking about the car situation, I've done this before. I have picked cars, like one car on paper has better stats, but the color of the other one is so pretty, it makes me so happy.
Sure.
So, of course, I'm not making a huge downgrade. Like, I'm not buying a lemon versus a certified. But if it comes down to like 2 certified vehicles, that's what I wanted anyway. But this one has less miles than that one. But
right.
The color of this one, we do make those decisions.
All the time.
To
Agreed.
be honest with you, as a woman at this point in life, that's how I want to live my life now, because that's what feels good. At this point, I've lived the duty things. I've gotten the degrees. I've done all the things that I was supposed to do. And what I found was that wasn't creating a sense of aliveness in me.
BBB donated $100. You proved that you had prior knowledge she was mentally ill and you bring her on anyway. Nice, that sums up the Whatever podcast. Brian, you think it's a coincidence your audience and chat is so vile?
Yeah, so to answer your question, BBB, basically every woman that I see in modernity is mentally ill. What makes her different? Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, I think there was a point in my life where I operated more with my logical structures, and I valued the logical over the emotional.
Sure.
But like I said, especially becoming a mother and dealing with the gray areas, before I had my kids, I thought I had everything figured out. I thought it was like A plus B equals C, very linear. You do these certain things, you get this certain outcome. But what I found in just getting older and having different perspective, is I started learning, I got humbled, I guess you could say. And I started learning, you know what? Doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. And so I started leaning more towards following that internal guidance system, that gut feeling, that sparkle, that pizzazz, that I started allowing my emotions to thaw out, is what my therapist would say, because I always was experiencing myself as very stoic, monotoned. They would say with my autism, that was the presentation of a monotone. Like, I did not have such a dynamic presentation or personality because I was so afraid of showing or following my heart, following my emotions, because I had been taught that the logical mind was more important than the physical experience of the body. And all I have discovered is that it's at least equal. We should at least be giving equal.
Yeah, I think we have emotional responses, but I guess, and we should have emotional responses. I think
because
that
the body doesn't lie, but the mind does.
So the heart does too. So
the heart only lies if it has so much trauma. It's trauma responding.
The heart lies anyway. Here, I can prove it to you. I can prove to you that the heart lies, and I can give you a great emotional example. Okay. Have you ever been with a man and he's given you butterflies?
To be honest, no, because I have I have severe attachment traumas.
Okay, before the attachment traumas.
I always had them.
How did you get an attachment trauma before you ever got attached?
Do you not know about my family?
Oh, okay. Well, absent this, you understand most women do report a feeling of butterflies. Often. They want that particular
the chemical
emotion
feeling. The honeymoon effect of the chemical reaction.
But that's your heart lying.
That's not your heart. That is literally a chemical reaction in your body. That's nothing to do with your heart space. Your heart space goes by
your heart's just a chemical reaction in your body.
No, it's actually not. The chemical reaction is coming from different structures in your body.
Those are all chemicals, though. So if one's a chemical, they're all chemicals.
No, your heart is actually an electromagnet. It's not chemical. It's electromagnetic.
In your body, skin, everything has an electromagnetic frequency as well. But having a frequency for a thing does not mean that the thing which is introducing into your brain these emotions isn't chemical.
So here's the thing. It's actually the story that we tell ourselves that is creating the emotional response. So those women who are letting themselves have that emotional response of butterflies that you're calling it, that's actually them telling themselves the story that they have found a savior. This person is going to save me. It's not their heart. It's the story that their logical mind is telling their body.
If it was purely logical, right, then their heart couldn't lie to their mind.
It's not their heart. You're misinterpreting what is the heart.
You could not make, what you're saying is actually unreasonable or irrational. You're saying the rational brain is creating irrationality.
So you studied neuropsychology?
No, the study of neuropsychology has nothing to do with the study of philosophy.
This is not philosophical.
It is
philosophical.
This is scientific.
Well, I'm talking about actual science.
Have you ever heard of the philosophy of science?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literally neuroscience.
I'm talking about it. The philosophy of science is still a grounding foundation for scientific principles. And so what I'm saying to you is that things still have to be rational, even in science. They have to be rational. That's what the scientific process and the method is it's a methodology, which is a rational method to come up with empirical answers.
It's not necessarily rational so much as it is repeatable with an equation. That's what makes it scientific.
But even that, what you just said, is rational.
But it doesn't always make logical sense, the outcome of the equation.
The outcome may not, but the process to determine the outcome always does.
It is systematic, repeatable, linear, yes.
It's rational. So that's my whole point.
I just don't want the word rational to be taken out of context and spun into something that's not.
Well, I'm not trying. I'm trying. I guess what
because
I'm trying to get at.
a lot of the physics of how the universe works is very mystical. It's very like what the.
I don't even disagree with that. But what I was getting at, what I'm driving here, is from my worldview, and the reason I was trying to give you mine earlier so that you understood. What you described to me is pure evil. When you say this, and this is how we would describe it from my worldview. When you say that the rational brain, the reasonable brain, should be rejected in lieu of the emotional mind, whatever the new emotional mind is, right? And that you focus on that emotional mind because it makes you happy. This is the equivalency to me of pure hedonism.
Okay.
And what that does is it subtracts this big element that I do care about. I wouldn't care, for instance, if you went to a desert island and you're like, I'm going to be fucking hedonistic and do blah. I wouldn't give a flying fuck, right? My problem comes in when emotion becomes collectivized, especially in women, and that creates some sort of like power move, and then that begins to sway society or move society in a way which causes significant problems to people who do value what is rational and
What's the
reasonable.
problems?
Well, I mean, let's take, for instance, the inequality in the courts between men and women when it comes to custody, when it comes to women initiating most divorces. And the reasoning that they put behind initiating most of the divorces has nothing to do with the fact that they were being abused or that they were being cheated on, but that they have irreconcilable differences. In other words, they don't feel those butterflies anymore. Mm-hmm. Now we have kids who are brought into the equation.
What about the men who give lines?
Let me finish, and I'll let you respond, I promise. Now we have kids brought in the equation in these relationships, and then what ends up happening is mommy, because she doesn't feel the butterflies anymore, leaves dad for Chuck down the road who gives her the butterflies. But now we have these groups of kids growing up in a broken home. If that was one family, no problem. When it becomes 1 million families, it becomes a big fucking problem.
So let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
What did the man do that gave her the butterflies in the first place? Was he an asshole?
He may not have done anything necessarily. Sometimes women know within 2-3 minutes that they're extremely attracted to a man and that they desire
They're
him.
trauma bonded to him.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but it's pretty loaded. It seems like you kind of think everything is trauma. The
Mostly
table
it
is
is.
trauma.
Mostly
right?
it is, to
I
be
don't think
honest.
so. I think when you say trauma, I think you would.
Unprocessed emotion from childhood.
Yeah, no, I'm going to disagree with that's really Freudian.
So again,
right?
who is the expert in psychology?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're right.
Who is the expert in
Even
psychology?
if you had an expertise, it wouldn't make you correct.
But who is the expert?
I'm not
technically?
sure that you're an expert. Because you have a degree, I'm not sure you're an expert. I would not make the claim that you're an expert because you have a degree. Do you just make the claim that people are experts because they have degrees? I don't think you would either.
That's kind of the world we live in. You get a couple degrees in something, and you are at least more expert than the person who has no education in the subject.
Well, hang on. Saying you have no education on a subject, that's not the same as a degree. Like, there's a lot that I understand about psychology that I've studied. That doesn't mean that I'm an expert.
All right, Andrew.
But I'm not going to concede you are either.
Okay. All right. Well, next subject then.
Well, hang on. An argument from incredulity if, yeah, right.
We're not going to
I have
come
a
to an
degree.
agreement
I have a
when
degree.
you're throwing me bullshit.
I have a degree in psychology, so I'm an expert.
You do?
I'm an expert. I have a degree in
Let
psychology.
me see your degree.
I have a degree in psychology.
Let me see it.
Does it make you an expert to have a degree, yes or no?
What makes me an
Concealed
expert
man
is the fact
donated
that I got the
$100.
logical knowledge and then I
Brian,
went out
Andrew
and studied
team
it.
can't believe you're enduring this unstable woman better than the others. What are you afraid of? I can't imagine what her ex had went through with this manipulative, toxic woman.
There's another one coming through. Concealed man. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Is this
Appreciate
the
it.
concealed man? Is that a super popular Twitter account? Or am I thinking of something else? Thank you, though, for the
Christine
TTS.
donated $100. Lol, my sister has a psych degree from UCI and she's a moron. She tells me she just memorized random facts and wrote papers for class and is now working at an Uber driver. Take her kids away.
Damn. I just want to know the answer to that question. Do you believe that a person is an expert just because they have a degree?
No, I do not.
Okay, well then you continuously bringing up that you're an expert because you have a degree makes no sense.
Because you do
Loose
not
Pussy Energy
respect my
donated
actual
$100.
knowledge or experience on
Brian,
the subject.
here's
Because it doesn't
$100.
make sense.
Hold on.
Get to French kissing, bro. Open mouth and tongue too. I'm dead. Hashtag get the fucking rocks. Hashtag free Nick. Hashtag sleepy8 at 18.
LP, we summoned you on Tuesday's dating talk. I think it's been a while, right, since we've seen LP.
Yeah.
Good to see you in the chat, man. Thank you for the TTS. Appreciate it. It is a Bitcoin, though, just letting you know. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And good to see you in the chat, man.
It was so productive there for a few minutes too.
I do. You mentioned you're going to sick your contact in the FBI on me.
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah, that's a question.
How is it a question? You're reading a statement.
Do you want me to put "are you" at the front of that?
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, let's just assume it was a question then.
Okay, repeat the question then.
Okay, in messages, you said that You have an FBI contact, and they're going to investigate me for terrorism?
Correct.
Would you care to expand on
You can just read it. I explained everything to you detailed.
I mean, I actually don't have it in front of me, but...
Pegasus25 donated $100. Bimbo, you're not an expert just because you have a couple $1,000 piece of toilet paper. You're indoctrinated to believe the bullshit that you spew. You're nothing more than a hooker.
Yes, I don't really have it in front of me now, but there were some messages that you sent about how you feel like...
We can talk about that off the show. It's a very serious matter.
Okay, but I'm asking you now, like, how do you come to the conclusion that the show is like terrorist activities?
It's not something that I am comfortable with talking on camera.
What?
We can talk about it after, for sure.
Well, you're comfortable enough to...
It was a private conversation. It wasn't a public matter.
Well, hold on. But when you're threatening legal action will entail that it becomes a public matter.
Well,
correct?
At that point,
correct?
At that point, it will be discussed publicly then. It's not at that point.
Well, I mean, if you're threatening legal action, I think it's going to be public eventually. So why don't you just state the claims? I don't see I can't even imagine in what way this podcast could be deemed like a terrorist threat or organization. Are you saying Maddie's going to do something?
I detailed the explanation in my extensive messages with you.
Well, I don't have a screenshot of it.
Well, then you can go back and read it later.
Well, I can't pull it up, so we're here now. You can just state in your own words what your specific...
My last word. No!
Next.
You can't just throw out an accusation and not be prepared to defend it.
I gave you personally, person to person, as a civil matter, the claim. Very detailed. If you want to take a minute and find that, you're welcome to. But I am not prepared to discuss that on camera live in this context. It was a person to person conversation.
I mean, it's not really helpful for the sake of the conversation, but okay, well, that's a separate conversation, the whole terrorism thing. What about your lawsuit? You said you're building a legal case against me?
That's the lawsuit. You're talking about the same exact thing.
Okay. What claims do you intend to bring?
I just told you that it is detailed in my extensive messaging to you.
It is not detailed.
Well, I'll make sure.
You send like walls of text and paragraphs.
It's in there. Not my fault you don't read it.
I don't feel inclined to like parse through your like incoherent rambling on Instagram. Why don't you're here on the show instead of like making us do this extra work to like go through all the messages? Why don't you just state your actual position? It would make it very simple.
I'm not comfortable doing that.
Why are you not comfortable?
Because my tummy feels very tense and tight when you ask me that. And so, pass.
Well, my tummy feels very tense and tight when people threaten frivolous and vexatious legal action.
It wasn't frivolous.
It absolutely is frivolous.
Okay.
Have you consulted with an attorney on this?
Why do you ask?
I don't know. Are you an expert in the law?
Again, why do you ask?
Well, I would imagine if you went to an attorney and said, I had a bad time on the whatever podcast, I want to sue Brian for $100,000, he's going to laugh in your face. That's why I ask. Because maybe you're just imagining all these scenarios in which you think you can sue me. Yeah. That's why I ask.
Well, why don't we just leave it at that? You can think whatever you want. You're going to anyway, no matter what I say. So what's the point of me saying anything?
I'm going to whatever you say.
You're going to think whatever you want to think.
Do you know what the purpose of a conversation is?
Well, in my day, it was so you could gain perspective into another person's thought process. But in the new generation, it's really just so you can pick apart somebody's mind and decide you want to throw it in the trash. So, no point.
Okay, so you're fine with us pulling up the chats then?
Yeah, go ahead. I have to go to the bathroom anyway. Take your time.
Okay. It's interesting, even though I feel like I'm being more, am I being more polite than Andrew? Not to say you're being whatever, but she seems to actually be somewhat able to engage with you. But every single thing I've brought up totally stonewalls me. Like refuses, every single thing I've brought up just refuses to actually have a conversation about it.
I think it's your tone.
You got to learn how to talk to obstinate women, Brian.
One of them. In any case, I don't know if you missed it, but
You just assume three things. 1, they're lying. 2, they're manipulating. And then 3, that you can emotionally jar an answer. That's the only 3 things. That's like
yeah.
the 3-step rule.